The superstars of Fan Control Football Season 2.0 are not only the who's who of celebrity team owners and influencers, not the 21 million live views of our Emmy-nominated broadcast. Across Twitch, DAZN, Fubo, NBCLX, Peacock. Or our highlights that scored over 100 million views. And we can't forget best-in-class sponsors. But the biggest star of Season 2 is our play calling app that allow fans to control the action on the field. Fans pick a team, pick a play, 4 run plays, 4 pass plays to choose from. The play with the most votes is called in real time.
We got it.
This is where video games and live action come to life. And now, Fan Control Sports and Entertainment brings you Fan Controlled Hoops, where fans call the shots. Coming 2023, the future of sports is here, and it's fan control. Power to the fans.
Are you ready for it?
This is FCTV, fan-controlled television. Programs created and produced for the fans, by the fans of fan-controlled sports and entertainment. As always, power to the fans. And now, it's time for the show.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Info Arcade, the only sports and entertainment podcast live show on the internet on Tuesdays on the double Emmy nominated network. This is it. This is the only one you're going to find.
Anemone?
Anemone. It's what the fish live in. Anyway,
that's what the fish live in.
Guys, what is going on? It's going to be a really fun show tonight. I hope you guys are as pumped as I am. I'm so excited. I can't even get the words out of my mouth. Just can't. It's a piece of finesse. So AJ's over here doing this. Guys, how are you doing? My co-host as always, Frosty and AJ King Call, the legends themselves. How are we doing, boys?
Man, doing well.
Doing good.
Doing okay.
You guys ready to talk about just all the nonsense in sports and entertainment that has happened this week? It's just insane.
Let's talk about all of it. All of it.
All of it.
Let's not miss anything.
Here's what we got for the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to talk some FCF. We're going to talk some NFL. We're going to talk some NBA. Some crazy sports stats that have been happening, and also some updates to the entertainment world. So hopefully you will stay tuned and keep it locked in right here for the next bit. But in case you're wondering, what the heck is this show? This is the Info Arcade, where each and every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, we run you through the video game news, the sports news, the entertainment news, everything that you need to know about right here live on the show. You can join us live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. We're on all of the places, and you can be chiming in with your comments like Rico is here, and Peanut FCF, and Jay Spacely, and NSG Roots. All of those guys are tuning in right now, dropping comments. Welcome to the show, everyone. And if you can't make the show, that's okay too, because you can catch us on podcast services all around the globe. And you can listen to our beautiful voices in your ears. It's great. So, yeah. It's awesome. Hey, all right. First off, real quick, I've got to start with this because this is probably the most exciting thing tonight. This is our first topic of the day. Let's go ahead and kick it off with our first up.
Let's go.
I really should not have had all that caffeine right before I hopped on. I'm starting to regret my decision.
You're killing it. Don't worry about it. You're killing it.
Anyway, guys, really why I am excited is because this network, Fan Controlled Sports and Entertainment, just a couple hours ago, was nominated for not one, but 2 Emmys for the previous FCF season. Guys, we are so excited for this. They were nominated for Outstanding Interactive Entertainment and Outstanding Digital Innovation with the likes of NBA TV and many other great nominees. So, guys, I mean, any thoughts on this? I know AJ took to Twitter earlier and was pretty excited about this. AJ, what is going through your mind whenever you saw this announcement?
Man, I wish I had one of my awards like close by. So I'd like to thank my mom, my dad, my beautiful fiance, for allowing me. Oh, my sister too, for allowing me the time to spend in a bubble surrounded by grown men that could bench press me easily. I'd like to thank the Academy for the recognition of me as one single cameraman within the organization. No, I think this is great, guys. Like, I'm genuinely honored to have like even been a small part of it. Like, I feel like I did a lot, but in comparison to everything and what like the Emmy is worth, I didn't do much. So like, we got to give a shout out to everybody behind the scenes, like Josh, Deez, everybody at the top, all the smaller people that worked in content, all the people that are working, behind the devs, all the, there's so many people that are going, working super hard behind the scenes that we don't even know, we don't even see, we don't even know their names, but I think they need to get some recognition. So I'm taking the time to shout them out. And I want to point out to the fans, like, I know that a lot of fans are disappointed. Like, I'm a fan of FCF. I have been. That's how I got involved, even though I've like kind of jumped it further in than some of the other fans. But like, at the end of the day, as much as fans get disappointed from like some of the things that they promise and haven't yet fulfilled on, their intentions are there for the fans. They want to do this for the fans. Like, so Rob, the dude who's at the top, man, he genuinely just wants all the fans to feel the experience, to enjoy it, and he does it all for the fans. So like, as much as we give them crap and like we get on them and harp on them for not coming through on certain things, we got to, recognize at the end of the day, they're doing their best. They're doing this for us and they're getting recognition, guys. Like, I think we got to have a little patience as fans and, notice that with Emmy nominations, guys, if they're taking time, I know it's been a year, if they're taking time to like, produce better content, if they're already winning Emmys and they're like, this isn't good enough, we need more.
I mean, just to even
let them cook.
Just to let you guys know, this is who was also nominated for Outstanding Digital Innovation. It's like, it's not just small names. Like, these are the big guns. ABC and ESPN, the NBA app from NBA Digital, the Olympic Winter Games production of an 8K live stream done by NBC, and then also Prime Video's Thursday Night Football with Prime Vision. Like, those are all
those super innovative.
Yeah, so innovative. Well, I mean, compared to all those, like, I'm just like,
I mean, I'm not joking. Like, the Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football thing, that was
it's a game changer.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was. It's a game changer. Yeah,
and so I don't know if you've even seen some of the NBA app stuff, like the ability that they've made it to where you could put your face on an actual NBA player. Like, that's
gonna be nuts.
It's gonna be crazy, and that's that innovation as well. That was also co-nominated. So just the fact that fan-controlled sports and entertainment has gotten a nod from the Emmys is amazing, and props again to everyone on top of the board, everybody at the bottom level, everyone running the ones and twos, like Jim running the show each and every week. Shout out to Jim and everybody else who helped run all of the live shows that we had. 2.0 was amazing because of the content that happened, not just on Saturday, but all week long. And it's awesome to get to be a small part of that, as producing fan controlled content even for the network. Like, that's so cool. It's so much fun. So congrats to everybody pulling for a W. That would be insane, right? Like, what a way to like get even more fired up for the season 3 and hoops and everything else that's on the way. So dude, it is It's exciting. It's exciting times. So I mean, I don't know. I can literally just talk about this all night because this is a huge deal for the league. But we've got a lot to dive into. Any other final thoughts on this? Like,
oh yeah, I'm just gonna say one thing. If they win it, I'm gonna go get a replica Emmy and just hang it up in my thing. Just like maybe not even the same size, just a small version that says,
a mini one.
Just a mini one. Just be like, I played a small part,
Yeah.
Why not?
It's mini Emmy.
I just want to mention, like, you're right, fans are a little impatient, right? And like they're pushing. I think that's good. And I think patience is key. But also, like, I think it's a good time to just take a step back and recognize how much better season 2's production and presentation was than season 1's, right? Like this company is moving at light speed, right? And a lot of it was because of AJ, like specifically.
It was all because that's me, it's specifically me.
But like in like some of those other companies, right? They've been around a long time. It's taking like the development speed that we're going at, even though we're impatient because we're used to like yearly schedules of sports, like what they did and from, year 1 to year 2 is just, it's mind boggling how much better the presentation was, how much better the experience was.
Also, shout out to the fans and all of the Fan Control captains, like everybody who is even playing that small part of like giving feedback or even participating throughout the league. Like the league and its success really boils down to every member of the fan base, just as much as everyone who's putting in time. Like what they've developed is an amazing product, but if no one showed up to utilize it, it would be kind of a dud, right? And we have all these fans that are showing up to games, that are watching online, that are using the play calling app. And that's all innovations that have been just continuously growing in technology and innovation. And that's because you, the fans, are helping tweak that. You're giving feedback on Discord or you're interacting, you're letting people know about it. And so I really think this nomination really goes to everyone in the league. And let's hope we get that dub. Let's
specifically me, but specifically
AJ, just for the record.
Just for the record. Yeah, absolutely. Just to make that clear. Yeah.
For the record, it's AJ.
Josh, don't watch this at all.
Oh man. Guys, I want to talk about some other craziness that's happening starting tonight. NBA playoffs, the play-in has started. It is on like Donkey Kong.
Well, it starts in 15 minutes.
Yeah, we're gonna end the show in 15 minutes because we gotta turn it on. Or I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Hawks game.
It's gonna be on like on another screen. That's the truth of it.
I mean, who says it's not already?
Exactly, exactly. But guys, I am really excited. The play-in, is pretty new. It started up within these past couple of years, but I really feel like it's starting to really make a big impact. And one of the things we're going to talk about tonight in tonight's boss battle is honestly one of the like why are we watching these teams that we're watching? Because there's one team in particular that should have been here and they're not. And we're going to talk about them later. But I really want to look at tonight's play-in, these teams that are participating, and then I want to look at the playoffs overall and where the seeds are at, because we've got some pretty cool matchups. Like this is one of the most dynamic playoff seedings that we've had in a long time. And I think it's going to produce some very competitive round 1 playoff basketball, which I'm super excited about. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about who's going to make it out of the play-in tournament. So tonight, AJ's Atlanta Hawks, 41-41, baby. The mid-tier of mid-tier.
Even.
They are there, and they are taking on the Miami Heat tonight. So, that's going to be a very, very competitive game. Toronto Raptors playing the Bulls also in the Eastern Conference. Another 2 teams, again, that have been really playing well since the All-Star break.
You mean playing mid.
Playing good enough to be here. If we're going to talk about a team playing mid, if we're playing
good enough.
Yeah. If we're going to talk about a team really playing mid, the Los Angeles Lakers. They're taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves on Tuesday. tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern. And then the Pels are playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, who I did think were going to make it because, after all, they got all these draft picks and they got every reason to get last place. And they fought their way into play-in contention. Like, that's a big deal for that young roster. The average age is 22 on that roster. So it's pretty crazy. But let's talk about these games. Let's talk about these matchups, starting with Eastern Conference. You got the Heat and the Hawks. Without any bias, as much as we possibly can, AJ, how do we foresee tonight's game going? Do we see it being very competitive? Do we see it being a blowout? Do we think the Hawks are going to continue this trend of, kind of being average, or do we see them crank it up a notch? Do we see the Heat bring the fire? No pun intended. Like, what do we see happening?
I mean, as much as I want to be on the side of the Hawks, the Heat have had the Hawks number this whole season. Like, if you look back at what happened in their previous matchups, literally the Heat have the Hawks number. It was 30-28 last time they met in March 6th, on March 4th, 2 days prior, 17-109. And then the only time the Hawks won was way back in January. And still, like, that game in and of itself, I'm pretty sure they were missing Jimmy Butler. Nope, actually Jimmy played. No, it was full team. So it's one of those situations where the Hawks have been on a little tear recently, especially since All-Star break. I say tear because they had a brand new coach and they ended the season better than where they were before they had a coach. Right. So, I've been saying this all season. It begs the question, where would they be if they had Quinn Snyder from the beginning? Having said that, it's hard for me to genuinely think this is going to be one-sided. I think it's going to be a very close match. I hope the Hawks get it out. And I purely say that just because, Trae Young somehow turns it on when the game is hot. But the Heat did beat the Hawks and almost they gave them a gentleman's sweep last year in the playoffs. So gun to my temple, I would put money on the Heat winning this. And that's an unfortunate thing. But the good news is the Hawks still have another opportunity. They can win the next game and move on. This isn't a win or go home for them. So I still think the Hawks get into the playoffs. I just don't know if it's tonight.
Yeah, it's very possible, right? I think there is a possibility that they could win this out tonight, that they could go ahead and beat out the Heat to go ahead and secure their spot. But I don't think they need to do so just for the sake of advancing in the playoffs. I think they need to show Trae Young that they want to do everything they can to win, because after all, that is one guy who's super valuable and he could literally go anywhere. He could play anywhere. He's
not going anywhere though. So
you don't think he's going to leave Atlanta? You don't think he requests a trade to try to go somewhere else? Okay.
No. He not only has he been on record multiple times saying he wants to win in Atlanta and he wants to stay in Atlanta because Atlanta is his second home. But his father has gone on records and on multiple interviews saying that Trae Young is the type of person that has idolized and looked up to the type of players that once they're drafted, they stay there. The likes of Kobe Bryant, Dame Lillard. So even his father has said that he's not going anywhere. Atlanta is his new home. It's where his son was born. It's where he has a house. It's where he's gotten married. He said that the city of Atlanta has taken him in and treat him like a king, and rightfully they should. The man goes to any other sports thing or anywhere in Atlanta, and he gets free food. Everyone's taking care of the man like he's a king. He's not going anywhere. The only place that he would try to go is Oklahoma City because he's from Oklahoma. And if he's going to go to Oklahoma City after the Atlanta Hawks have literally built the team around him, it's a terrible decision for him. I love you, Jaden. I know you're an Oklahoma City fan, but that is not a good organization. They are not doing well right now. They're lucky. They're doing well with Shea.
Just wait, man. They're still rebuilding, bro. They are still rebuilding and in rebuilding seasons.
But there's no way they have enough. Talent. They don't have enough trade capital to get Trae Young.
Give it a couple years. They got enough draft picks to get whoever they want. I honestly do. It really comes down to money.
Think that? But do you really think the Atlanta Hawks as an organization are going to trade their star player who they built their team around over the last 5 years, 4 draft picks.
We'll see.
Come on now. I don't think that's
we'll
happening.
See. Well, I really think it's going to come down to Trae Young having to be fed up with the lack of competition. Like if they're not able to make a playoff run this year, and then I don't think this year is the final line, but I think this year is going to segue into next year. If they, this year they had a coaching change, like you said, maybe Trae gives it a pass, but if they produce the same result or similar results next year, what does Trae do? That's where I'm kind of coming from. I don't think it's going to be this offseason.
I don't think he does anything because you got to compare. You have to make the comparison to Dame Lillard. When was the last time the Trailblazers have made any heavy playoff run? And not only that, you got to also look at the fact that he, like Dame in Portland, he's getting treated like the number one. And like, why would he leave? Like the only places that he would go is to win a championship. And that's you got to keep that in mind. And he's not valued highly in the league. We saw that,
which is unfortunate because I think he's so underrated and undervalued.
Like Luka Doncic is making All-Star NBA team this year, and his team isn't even in the playoff run.
Wow.
Whereas last year, Trae Young wasn't in the he's still not in the conversation. He's led the league in assists both this year and last year. And when it came to the All-Star votes among his his fellow, players, he was ranked 12th in the East as far as guards go. He is not highly valued within the league. So why would he go somewhere else?
Yeah, I don't know. Frosty, what you got?
Man, I think just my general rule in NBA playoffs, big stars make big plays. I think Trae Young is going to be the difference. I actually think the Hawks win tonight and move on. It's going to be Trae Young putting the team on his back and carrying it by a bucket. I think that's what's going to end up happening.
Okay. All right. Wait, are you guys talking about Dame? Yes, we're always talking about Dame. Always talking about Dame. Talking about everybody. Anyway, yeah, guys. I'm excited for that matchup. I think it's been really competitive. I love Kevin Love for this one too. Like coming off the bench, like they're like, "Hey, how are you feeling about being that player?" He's like, "I don't care. I just want my minutes. I don't want to play." Like I love that mentality.
Kevin Love's a G.
Dude, he's good.
I think he's gonna be like the difference maker.
I think he could be a difference maker for the Heat for sure, especially with he has that playoff experience, and he's coming off the bench. He could definitely be a power player for that second team, or an asset, for one of those starting guys if they're having an off night, if they need to just swap him out for one of them. So, Toronto Raptors, Chicago Bulls. To me, this is a toss up, but I'm kind of leaning with the Bulls on this one. I think they definitely have. They have a lot to prove, and man, I mean, I don't know. I just, it's more of a hunch than anything. I'm leaning toward the Bulls here. I think they're trying to make a statement. They've made a lot of moves to put this team together, and they're trying to, they're trying to make it happen with Zach LaVine. So we'll see if he can put it together.
I mean, this is, like you said, it's a toss-up. Season record is even between the two. I don't know, man. I want the Bulls to win it just so there's an opportunity. There's a slight sliver of a chance the Hawks can see the Bulls in the playoffs, and I can see the Hawks again in the playoffs here in Chicago. Yeah. Likelihood of that happening is like 2%. You kind of want the Bulls to win, like you said, because they've been building their team up for this. The only issue is I don't think Lonzo Ball is in the game today, so like that's not great.
No.
Yeah.
Dude's still hurt, and that you're missing a big player in your roster. It's I don't think they're gonna get him back too anytime in the postseason. So it's kind of like for the Bulls right now, it's more of a situation of you go as far as you go and you're happy with it because your team isn't at full health. Like you're missing a star. So hopefully Zach LaVine can put the team on his back. Vucevic isn't, terrible center. He's a good player.
Which is why it's gonna come down to a Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan like stepping up to carry that team. But Patrick Beverley too, like he's getting all his minutes.
Stacked team.
Yeah,
Like,
Patrick Beverly,
Alex
he's getting
Caruso.
almost 28 minutes a game, 29 minutes a game, but he's only
Yeah.
averaging 6 points. Like Patrick Beverly is one of those guys who has a tenure of being in the playoffs, of being competitive, and he's not doing anything for the Bulls organization right now.
Yep.
Alex
Yep.
Caruso too. Like Alex Caruso is a young dude. He could be putting more points up on the board. So if those two other guys who are definitely stars can pick it up, Andre Drummond, if he could pick it up, like those
Yeah,
are
these
people
guys
that
are
could help
all
you.
like at a former time, we're all superstars of their own team. Vucevic and Orlando, DeMar, and
Mhm.
you know, the
Yeah.
Raptors, which is hilarious. That's who they have to defeat tonight. So it's like they have somewhat of like, I'm not gonna say they have an all-star squad. They have like a B-ranked all-star squad.
I would say they got a veteran squad. They've got a veteran
they have-
squad. They've got
a veteran
They have like
experience.
it's like a 2011 veteran or like all-star squad. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
a bunch of guys that used to be really good.
Goran
They're past
Dragic.
their prime, but maybe they can pull something together.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
one last
So-
run with the boys.
One last run with the boys. Yeah, totally. I could totally see that happening. When you look over at what's happening with Toronto, like they're a lot more even spread. Like they're not leaning on two guys to carry their team.
Yeah.
They have 4 or 5 players that are averaging, 10 plus points a game. And some of them like 3 or 4 players averaging high teens or 20s points a game. So like,
and they have a lot of vets from that winning Toronto squad. So
That's
they got
right.
Van Fleet. They got what's his face that I can never remember his name or say it.
Pascal
Siakam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Siakam. I say it with such a Chicago accent and I hate it. Siakam. But they also have like arguably my rookie of the year in Scotty Barnes. They got a good squad.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know who's gonna win it. I'm leaning Bulls.
Yeah.
I'm leaning Bulls. I'm gonna
But
say
again, one thing that
Let's
plays
go
to the
Bulls.
advantage of the Raptors here is that the Raptors are more equally balanced. They can like if one of them has an off night, it's okay. The other guys can easily pick up the slack versus the Bulls only have 2 or 3 guys carrying that whole team. And if one of them is off, then it's going to be a bad night.
See, but
I
okay.
think-
Oh, go ahead, Frosty. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, for me, the difference is that they have guys with playoff experience that's been successful, right?
Mm-hmm.
You look at those Bulls guys, like, yeah, a lot of them were really good players in their time, but none of them were like championship winning players, right? Like they were all like also rans. They were the second team NBA, right? They weren't the first team NBA guys. And like for me, like the Raptors' recent success and guys on that team that did it, I think they carry the day. I think the Bulls better win it because they don't know what they're gonna do if they don't. Honestly, like, what do you do with that team if it loses?
Yeah.
You can't really do much. You scrap it and start over.
Yeah, that's it, right? And so I think the Bulls better win it, but for that reason, I think that's what they lose.
Yeah, for sure.
mean,
I agree.
I'm just gonna say I feel like the Bulls are doing it just purely because, as much as like I want to agree with you that like they have playoff experience, the Raptors are gonna do it and pull it out because it's they don't have a star player, but I think that's the issue. That's the issue that they can't get over is that they don't have a star player. And that's like the key factor in why they cannot get the success that they once had is because they lost Kawhi. They cannot attract another star player.
That's a good point.
So maybe Scotty Barnes is that difference maker, but he's a rookie. He's not going to perform
he's not.
as
He
well.
might not do it this year. It's going to give him a year or two, and then we'll be having a different conversation, especially if they can continue to build around him in Toronto. So, I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm
hoping as the first game starts up right now and I have it in the background, I'm just hoping purely because I'm a Hawks fan that the middest team in the world has the best Cinderella story. Like the guys that were dead even 50% come and win it all. Like, come on, that'd be a great story.
I think it's fine as long as they take every series to the brink and then win it.
It has to go
stay
game
mid
7.
all the way through.
It has to go game 7 every time. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. Here's where I'm concerned. Again, we talked about this last week, I think, when we were looking at the playoff picture between East and West. Like, it seemed that it was anybody's race in the West.
It still is.
But here's the thing, man. Like, I don't know. This game that we're about to talk about next is crazy to me because this game is going to determine 2 completely different playoff pictures for the Western Conference, and that is the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Lakers in a play-in tonight. Lakers shouldn't even be in the play-in, but they've allowed themselves to slump this far to get to this point. But there is something about LeBron James and some of these Laker players that playoff LeBron is different than regular season LeBron.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, Anthony Davis is a completely different beast in the playoffs as well. And here he's taking on, you know, the Timberwolves. If we're looking at minutes, you know, we could expect the Lakers to put out LeBron James, Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Dennis Schroeder is playing really well.
Schroeder's still on the
bench.
team. Oh,
Dude,
wow.
yeah, he's playing really well off the bench. He's getting 30 minutes a night off the bench.
He's a good player. He just has
really
a
is.
terrible attitude.
Yeah, I liked it when he played for the Thunder because he had to be somebody off the bench then too, and I feel like he's a great sixth man.
But okay, the story of Dennis Schroeder starts in Atlanta.
And sorry,
right?
and D'Angelo Russell, I don't believe. No, never mind. I take it back. It's crazy to me. Westbrook is still like, he's not on the team, but he's still averaging higher minutes than some of these other guys that are on here. So they haven't like completely been able to reallocate themselves, which that's a whole other story. Like LeBron James essentially blamed Russell Westbrook straight up for the reason that they're in the play-in. But like right now, the reason that the Clippers have jumped from like the 7 to the 5 seed was because Russell's been carrying an injured Clippers team and getting them wins. Yeah. So I just think that's really ironic.
100%, yeah.
But I mean, I'm looking at this team. There's a reason that the Lakers shouldn't win this game.
I agree.
Oh, they're gonna win it. Like like you said, playoff LeBron is different. And you got to also look, the Timberwolves themselves have been dysfunctional lately. Gobert's fighting his teammates. Like, come on. That's like,
well, and they're also trying to like get back in the groove of things because Karl Anthony Towns has been back, but hasn't been back for that long. He's only been like back in for like the past 3 weeks, right? 4 weeks. So I would say he's still not even like full conditioning yet for playoff basketball, which would be my biggest concern with them. I think Anthony Edwards is going to really have to continue to be their top scorer. He's going to have to continue to put points on the board. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I don't feel as good about this. Now, another thing, too, if we see Utah Jazz Rudy Gobert, it's going to be tough.
Are we going to see Rudy Gobert at all? Or are they going to let him back in?
I don't think so, man. Like, unless
that's what I think. They sent him home,
I really
right?
don't think that. Like, I think his season's over with this team just because it's like you got to think like as much as
he
Rudy
was
Gobert
suspended for Tuesday's game against the Lakers for his altercation with Kyle Anderson. So they're going to have to win this game without Gobert.
Yeah,
I don't know. I honestly don't think they do that.
I don't think they win it.
I think LeBron puts up 35 and 12 and puts them away easily, honestly.
This isn't the 9th, 10th. This is the 8-7, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Timberwolves are going to get another chance at it, and then that's when we can like see if Gobert is Gobert or like he's Gogurt, you know?
Yeah.
But see, Nifty Living's got my back saying Schroeder's ATL days were when ATL was on fire. Yeah, but Schroeder was given the keys to Atlanta, and he was like, nah, I don't want to wait for a rebuild. Send me somewhere else. And they're like, bet, go to the Thunder.
Freddie said, I thought Gobert was suspended. Yes, Gobert was suspended.
Yeah.
So I don't think they win without it. But I think with Gobert and everybody, like, if everybody's friends in Minnesota, it is a whole different game. But I think there's other underlying problems.
Clearly they're not.
Minnesota. Yeah. So even if they do win, even if they do manage to make it into the playoffs, like sneak in, the real question is, can they even make a run with the dysfunction that their team's at? And I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
You put that number 8 seed Minnesota against the rest of these teams. Who would that mean that they're playing number 1, right? The Memphis. Are they playing Memphis at that point?
Mm-hmm.
What if they're the eighth seed? Yeah, they'd play number one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's
So
what? The Grizzlies. The
so,
Grizzlies
like,
themselves are also pretty
no.
dysfunctional.
Sorry. Yeah. The Grizzlies
Or is
are
it the Nugs?
number 2. Sorry.
The
So
Yeah,
Nuggets.
you're
Nuggets are
right.
number
Nuggets are number one. Nuggets
Yeah.
are solid.
Nuggets send them packing home easy.
Oh yeah, easy. Jokic has been just a monster lately.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so let's go on to the rest of the other play-in of the night, the final one in the West. We've got the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they are taking on the Pelicans. This one is a really interesting matchup here, because again, this Thunder team is really young, and the Pelicans, I don't think they're full strength right now.
I mean, are they full strength? Let's look at who's playing tonight. Let's look at the injury
Well,
list.
I don't think that they have Zion.
That's a big one. If that's the case, then
Because right
I don't
now
know.
he is saying that he's going to return when he feels like Zion. Zion Williamson says he's not feeling himself.
oh yeah,
He's
no
not going
Zion.
to return until he feels like himself.
I mean, honestly, man, that's still a good ass matchup between the two teams. I still think the Pelicans make it. I really do. I don't think
I do
as much
too.
as the Thunder are a good team. I don't think they
Those
have
are
what
haters.
it takes.
You're haters. I'm just kidding.
That's not it at all, man.
No,
Brandon-
they're a stacked team, bro, for sure.
You got Jonas Valanciunas, you got CJ McCollum, and you got Brandon Ingram. Even without Zion Williams, like that is a difficult young squad to go up against. When, in my opinion, the Thunder don't have anyone besides like Shea. You can argue
Without
Dario
SGA,
Saric.
it's like
Without SGA, there's nobody on that team that can match up. Whereas the other team has 3, arguably 4, like really solid players, 2 all-stars, 1 without Zion. Like CJ McCollum himself, you can make the argument that the man, his time in Portland makes him just as good as an all-star, if not like I'd say a good number 2. So like put those guys together. I'm sorry, man. The Thunder ain't making it out. We ain't haters. We're just realists.
Yeah, and those guys are hungry too, right? Like those 4 guys, like they haven't like been super successful in the playoffs individually. I think they get through this. I don't think they go much further, but I think they get through this one.
Not only that, you got to think like Ingram left the Lakers because he wasn't good enough for LeBron. He wants to go to the playoffs ahead of the Lakers and like prove that he's a better player than LeBron thinks he is.
Josh Richardson is playing for the Pels.
That's
is
a great
dynamic.
3-point.
Yeah, no. He's incredible. I went to high school with Josh, so I'm a little biased. He sat in front of me in trigonometry.
That's cute.
Smart kid. But what I was saying is, like, when he's healthy and he's on his game, he can hit threes, like you were saying. He's coming off tonight. He's coming off the bench tonight. Nitty Living says, do you guys talk bet lines? Well, I'll give you the bet lines right now for Pels. I'm pretty sure they're projected to win.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think we try not to allow like betting lines to affect our
decision making, right?
Our decisions,
Yeah, I mean, I still want the Oklahomies to win. I don't think it's gonna happen. I really don't. Yeah. I don't think it's gonna happen. I want them to win, but I will really like SGA is gonna have to have like a game of his career.
Game of his lifetime.
Yeah, I think part of it is right. Like if the Thunder lose right now, I think it's still a good season. I think if Pelicans lose right season now, for them. It's a failed season. Yeah, right. It's so like they need to move forward.
I don't think it's a failed season for either team because like the Pels, they don't have their number 1 guy right now. So
even never do.
And arguably,
you know,
that's true. Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, he's always hurt.
When you look at this Thunder roster, they also have Lou Dort, who is going to be another key player tonight. Like he's going to have to show up. But the big question is, do we see the premiere of Chet Holmgren?
No.
Chet Holmgren. I forgot about Chet
Get out of
Holmgren.
here! What?
I
Yeah,
completely forgot about Chet Holmgren.
Dude.
Oh,
is
man.
like
He was showing that he's working out. It shows he's questionable. But they were, he's been practicing and tackling. Like, hey, he could show up in this playoffs if they win out tonight. He could actually probably play the playoffs, maybe. Which
I
would
would
be crazy.
put more money on.
7'1", 200-pound, skinny, like 3-point shooter, and
He's gonna get broken, dude. He's
He
not gonna
worries
see
me.
this court.
He worries me
scary,
whenever
though.
he jumps. Yeah, as soon as he comes down, I'm like, is he gonna shatter? Like,
Yeah, they're not gonna let him get any real court time, especially playoff court time, until he bulks up.
Yeah.
They're not gonna like risk him breaking in half.
Peanut says he hasn't debuted all season. What? No, he didn't, because he got hurt in an exhibition game in the preseason.
He's a twig. He's a
Yeah,
twig.
he really is.
But I saw a photo of him earlier today. Looks like he's put on a little bit more muscle mass. So
Look, I'm willing to give him some of my weight if he needs it.
right, same,
Like,
exactly.
take some of mine, bro. I'll transfer it. Can we do fat transfers?
hilarious.
I don't know how it works. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that's how it works. That technology hasn't been invented yet. We'll wait for some innovation with AI and other technology. Anyway, guys, so that's the playoff picture. We spent a lot of time on that, but there's a lot to talk about there. There's a lot to uncover there, and it's all exciting stuff. It's all exciting. So
I'm sorry. I'm watching the the Hawks playing game against the Heat, and I just saw what the new the drink of the NBA is, and it's Starry. And I was like, what is Starry?
That stuff is everywhere.
It's Sierra
Do you
Mist.
know? Yeah, do you know why they changed the name?
Why?
This is a hilarious story. Oh
Why
my
did
god.
they change the name?
So this is like a little like not PG, so I'm gonna try to make it the most PG as possible. So there's a social media influencer on TikTok who is a stewardess, and apparently she'd been using the name Sierra Mist for a longer than the company had been alive, like AOL type days. And apparently she started getting a lot of fame recently because she was a stewardess who had like a spicy TikTok that explained her exploits as a stewardess on a famous other platform. Yeah, exactly. Free drink, right? And you know the clubs that she would join on these flights. Yes. So they sued her because she was getting a lot of fame because you can't have our brand name, and she won. So they had to change their name to Starry.
No way, really?
Which is a terrible name.
It is an awful name.
Yeah.
Sierra Mist tastes better.
I for the longest time I thought it was.
They said they changed the recipe too, and
no, they didn't.
It's still trash. That's what it comes down to.
For the longest time, I thought Starry was the new version of Squirt, because I was like, Squirt's a terrible name for a thing. And I hadn't seen Squirt for a while, and then Squirt's I did research, and then I found this story, and I was like, "This is a funny story." Oh, it's a great story.
That's amazing.
Squirt is a competitor to. There's a Jamaican soft drink that's grapefruit flavor as well. It's called Ting, Ting.
You're a fan of Squirt, Freddie Airmail?
No, we love Squirt, says Freddie Airmail.
No, he's a fan of Squirt.
I like Squirt. I don't know how I feel about one being Squirt and the other one being Ting, though. You know, like that.
And moving on. Let's go into crazy stuff.
I hope they turn this into a TikTok or a social media post. It's just like we all like, oh, I love Squirt. Squirt's great. Yeah, Squirt's the best.
Big Squirt guy. Yeah.
This whole show has gone off the rails because of his soft drink, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Woo!
Wow. All right, guys, let's move on to some more crazy sports stuff. Ooh, Jason Wright says Surge. Bro, what do you know about Surge?
Surge.
That's
Surge needs to come back. They did bring
That's
it
one
back.
thing we'll all agree on. Yeah.
They brought it back as Vault for a while.
Vault, yeah. Vault was great.
Dude,
I love that.
High school was lit because of Vault. I had Vault every morning in high school.
I bought a personal mini fridge and put it in my room, just filled it up with Volt and Code Red.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Exactly. Code Red. No one knew that had 120 grams of sugar. We didn't care. We were high school.
Oh, I knew.
Amazing.
I knew. I was diabetic and had to load up on insulin every time I took it. So ever since I drank it. So.
Oh man. Okay, so let's talk about some crazy sports stuff. This was actually brought to us. This news segment was brought to us by Frosty himself. He's got 2 crazy baseball stats that just happened this week that I was like, okay, we're gonna start trying to find crazy stories like this because this is just absolutely insane. Starting with the Chattanooga Lookouts, and then we're gonna go into a pitcher at the U of Indy. So Frosty, I'll let you take the lead on this one since this was totally your deal. I was amazed.
So if you haven't seen this 2 crazy things that happened in the world of baseball this week. So the first one, Chattanooga Lookouts, right? Minor league team taking on another minor league team, the Trash Pandas, which is the best name in minor league baseball.
Best mascot too.
Yeah, the Trash Pandas threw a no-hitter in that game. The downside is they lost 7-5.
Wait, how? What? How?
It's incredible. It's great.
So you don't. So rule number 1 that managers haven't learned yet in baseball is you don't pull your starter when you have a no hitter. No matter what, bad things always happen. Put in their closer. He hits like 3 guys, walks a couple guys, has an error, gives up 7 runs, no hits in the 9th inning to lose the game 7-5.
Yeah, it happened.
Crazy. Yeah. So
wow,
7 runs, no hits.
That's bad. Yeah. That's
I guess
real bad.
Congratulations to both teams. I don't like.
Congrats to the Chattanooga Lookouts for that incredible feat.
Yeah, you didn't do anything, but you won.
You won. You did the thing, and it just goes to show that Moneyball was right. It's all about players getting on base and nothing else.
Okay, I got to take a second. Peanuts keeps bringing this up. It's not a work if it's been 1 day. Okay, you got to give it like a year or 2. It's not going to happen the next day, buddy. I'm just letting you know. It's not a work.
She's still under contract.
We all know she's on a contract for like what, another year or 2?
Yeah.
This is more after the contract is done, or
we'll
something ridiculously like horrible happens.
Yeah. But anyway, shout out to Freddie Airmail. Sent me that box score, blew my mind. I had a buddy in a similar situation in high school.
Error, hit by pitch, and wild pitch.
Yeah, I had a buddy similar situation in high school. Lost a game through a no hitter in sectionals. Lost 1-0 on a pass ball. So like crazy things happen. That is the craziest though. But let me tell you, I don't want to be hyperbolic here for the second one. So I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it really low key. But Brady Ware, pitcher for the University of Indy, had the greatest baseball game of any player in the history
of baseball, period.
History of baseball, period.
Yeah.
He threw a no-hitter and won the game, by the way. Won the game. Threw a no-hitter, won the game. And hit for the cycle in the same game. 9-inning, no-hitter, hit for the cycle. If you don't know what the cycle is, he hit a home run, a triple, a double, and a single, all in the same game this week.
That's just ridiculous because when we barely see rare, it's so rare to see a no-hitter at all, period, in baseball. Just the feat there. So the fact that we had one in minors and then we had this one here, it's just kind of crazy. They both have on the same week, especially when one resulted in a loss and the other one resulted in win. But that's because the same guy throwing the no-hitter got up and he was a two-way player. He hit the ball and was able to do a cycle, which a cycle is also really rare. Being able to hit a homer, triple, double, and a single in the same game, is crazy.
Jesus.
Jason Wright says, he should have played the lottery. 100%.
No
joke. Should have played the lottery that day too.
No joke. And UIndy is a D1 school, so you know what I mean. He's not playing at an NAIA school or something like that, right? Where he's kind of one of those guys going down to kind of JUCO level. He's playing Division I baseball, throws a no-hitter, and hits for the cycle in the same game.
Unbelievable.
Oh, D2, I'm sorry.
Freddie Airmail says, Ohtani who?
Right?
You can't say that. Come on. The man's arguably the GOAT of baseball. So
we haven't seen Ohtani throw a no-hitter in a cycle. Come on.
We actually haven't seen him do either of those two things.
Wow.
Let alone both on the same night. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not wrong.
That's
It just
pretty
makes
crazy.
me like it makes me want to be
baffling.
like, still,
Yeah.
the man he's too good.
Yeah.
No, Ohtani, in my opinion, best baseball player in the world right now. But
Same,
Brady
yeah.
Ware for one day
He was the
was
best
the greatest
baseball
baseball
player.
player
For
on
one
earth.
day.
Yeah, yeah.
For 9 hours.
I want to see.
That's right.
I want to see this kid's stats, like the next game he pitches, and it just.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling it's just gonna be just a crap fest.
Yeah,
'Cause
he's
you know
gonna
how,
get
like,
raked.
you know how like those people they go in like they're just on top of a mountain, like yes, like dude, I'm here, man, I did it, and then like the next time it's just they're just awful, bro. Like that's me most of the time. So I'm not gonna if Brady has that kind of game, like I'm not gonna. It's okay. It happens to the best of us. That's all we're trying to say.
But shout out to him. You know, D2 star blowing it up.
It's crazy.
All right. Nifty Living has a question.
I love this.
What's the best hitter?
Best hitter ever? Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Ken Griffey Jr. is
Ken
my
Griffey
answer.
Jr.
Andrew Jones.
I love Andrew Jones. No joke.
Ooh,
Big Andrew
yeah.
Jones fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a great dude. He was so much fun to watch.
But best pure hitter, in my opinion, Ken Griffey.
Ken
Jr.,
Griffey.
kid.
Which
I think Barry Bonds is second.
Ken Griffey's been in the news too lately. He hit a homer the other day at batting practice.
Yeah,
as a
at the
coach.
World Baseball.
At
Think
the
about
World
this. The World
Baseball
Baseball Classic had him as their hitting coach and Andy Pettit as their pitching coach for the Team USA.
And
yeah,
they still
so
lost.
And they still lost. Lars Nootbaar is the only American to win the World Baseball Classic this year.
Yeah,
he played for Team Japan, but
traitor. What? Sorry, I was kidding. Just kidding. No, shout out to Japan. They did awesome. No, that's crazy. I watched that clip.
He hit a
that
bomb.
TikTok. Yeah. Ken Griffey just like gets that pitch and just sends it like first pitch.
Yeah.
I'm like, that guy still got it. You know,
didn't even stretch.
No, he just swings the bat, dude. It's crazy. Anyway, all right. Moving on, dude. This was a crazy story. Like my phone was blowing up. Twitter was blowing up when I saw this, but. In a surprise turn of events, Baltimore is able to sign a superstar. And no, it's not Lamar Jackson. It's Odell Beckham Jr. of all people. $15 million one-year contract. I am so surprised by this because there were so many teams late last year that were kind of floating around with the potential question that like, OBJ is gonna be a Ram, he's go back to the Giants, or he's gonna, where's he gonna go?
Cowboys,
Cowboys, and then he signs with Baltimore, and now the question comes to, is Lamar Jackson going to sign with Baltimore? Because he has apparently claimed that he recruited OBJ to come to Baltimore. So is that Lamar teasing that he is going to stay in Baltimore and take whatever contract he can get? He's not looking for the money, the guaranteed money. Is that what's going to happen here? Because he's realizing that he's not going to get that big contract he wants? Or do you think that's just all, is that all just smoke? Like, what do you guys think here is happening? Is Lamar going to leave Baltimore? Because I feel like there's some bad blood between him and Baltimore right now. Especially after he leaked that he, like 30 days later, that he's chosen to leave, but now he's recruiting teammates. Go on. What do you guys think?
I gotta say, I think he comes back. And I think the bad blood's there. It will be there. They'll figure it out, right? Disgruntled quarterbacks will come back to teams all the time. Aaron Rodgers is the most recent example. But I just want to say the NFL has done Lamar dirty, like in this whole process, right? Like, there's no way in which there should be a world in which 31 other teams were not interested in this guy, right? But I think like the thing he needed in Baltimore was a number one, and OBJ at his best is a number one. We saw it when the last run with the Rams before the ACL tear. Even we saw it when he was with the Giants. I think he's
still arguably one of the best wide receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, it's so long as he's healed, right? But that's the big question. He missed last year. I think that was the right thing to do for him. Honestly, the only thing that was more surprising to me than him signing with Baltimore was that he signed with anyone. Because like I was beginning to wonder if he was going to, just because it had taken so long for him to sign. I think it's a good fit. I think he and Lamar fit well together. But unfortunately, like the pain that Baltimore's going to have to go through is in my opinion, the NFL is doing the way they treated Lamar.
Yeah. And it really just goes to show, like, dude, this whole NFL like QB carousel that's been happening over the past like 3 years, really, like it's all about timing and luck just as much as it is about skill. Like, you look at what happened with Deshaun Watson, like that dude was getting traded because of some crazy stuff that was going on in his personal life, that so much so that the team he was on didn't want him anymore. And they said, we're going to get rid of you because we don't want a chance that you're going to get suspended because of the personal life choices that you've been accused of making. Yeah. So then he goes, and the Browns just so happen to be the Browns, and they do crazy, wild QB decision-making all the time for star QBs or rookie QB draft picks. They do just the weirdest, most outlandish things for a QB, and they do it there, and they give that guy a full guaranteed contract. Ridiculous. And arguably, like, that guy shouldn't be paid more than Lamar. No way he should be paid more than Lamar.
I'd argue he shouldn't be paid at all. Like,
no, I mean that's a whole other,
you know what I mean?
Other thing.
Yeah, that's a whole. But no way you give that guy a guaranteed contract, especially that time
even
when
if
they didn't
he,
even know
even
when
if
he
was still allowed to play in the NFL and or whatever. Like, even if that's the case, like, no way he should be making the kind of money he is.
That's right.
And the fact is, like, Lamar is making this move right now when there's this incredible QB draft class that's coming up. There is a lot of QB free agents moving around all over. Some are still, floating in the wind. Veteran QBs like Aaron Rodgers, like, he says he's going to be a Jet. We still have yet to see anything on that. So, I mean, I just feel like Lamar kind of got screwed out of this because of timing, man. It wasn't the right timing. It wasn't good luck. It was.
I think it's collusion. I'm going to call it like it is. I think it's collusion by the NFL. Like, there's no way a former MVP like is sitting out there on the wind when you have people signing like Baker Mayfield. When you have like, there's so many quarterbacks in this league that he's being passed over for.
Well, and to be fair, Lamar Jackson is asking a lot. He's asking a lot.
Of course he is. He's asking for market value,
but he deserves it though. That's the thing is
he's an NFL MVP that turned that team around.
Yeah, for sure. I think the two things that are helping Lamar too in his favor is that, and AJ's mentioned this in previous weeks, he's representing himself, so it doesn't help. The second thing is, these other organizations have seen Lamar sit, and they've seen him sit because he said, in his own words, I wasn't 100% yet. He's basically doing what Zion's doing for the Pels right now, basically.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I don't feel like myself. I'm not going to play. But it was at a time where they needed him to step up and play because it was them going to the playoffs or not, and he chose to sat, and then they struggled and they didn't make it. And so you have NFL organizations looking at that kind of mentality. There is the question in the back of their mind that's saying, does he do this to us if we pick him up? That is a scary thought, which, I mean, that's a whole other, almost even political argument, I would say. But you have to admit, like, that is one of the thoughts that's kind of floating around those GMs' heads. It's got to be. So anyway, so the question again, do we think Lamar is going to move or is he going to stay?
I mean, I think he's gonna leave, man. Or I mean, I think he's gonna stay. My bad. I think he's gonna stay. I think, like he said, that he has no other choice, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
We will see what happens. Hopefully, they could come to a deal there in Baltimore, because I would hate to see OBJ catching passes from nobody. Just saying, that'd be terrible.
Yeah, Freddie's right. If he stays, it won't be for long. He's gonna try to get it out of there as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it could be. It could very well be an Aaron Rodgers situation. Yeah.
100%. Let's go ahead and move on. Real quick tidbit on this one. We talked about MLB. We talked about records last week. This was really surprising. Tampa Bay floating around at a 10-0 undefeated record. That's a huge start for the organization. I don't think anyone would have predicted a 10-0 start for this club, but I mean, man, any thoughts on you, Frosty, the baseball resident advisor for the show?
Yeah. you know, you have to be surprised when a team starts 10-0 just because no one's done it in 40 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But also, like, it's not surprising me that it's the Rays that do it because that is a darn good baseball team. I think they're going to be hard to beat. I don't think they go much longer. I think they trip up. You know, it's hard to go much further than this. I think they probably win tonight. Maybe one more game. They probably lose before they get to 13 or 14 would be my guess. But they've just been playing outstanding team baseball, right? Pitchers have been great. Batters have been great. Steals are up on their team.
And to be fair,
playing great.
6 of their 10 games were played against the Athletics or the Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
2 clubs that are kind of struggling. I mean, the Athletics, they only put up 5 runs across 3 games against them. The Rays put up 31 runs in those 3 games. So
that's the craziest to me is the run differential for them has been like historically high. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that's gonna be a team to watch for sure. Yeah, man. Let's real quick, last final announcement here on Sport. This is more of an announcement. Just today, the Premier League has announced they're doing a U.S. summer tour. 5 cities, 8 teams. They're gonna be playing across these 5 different venues is what it is. So 8 teams across 5 different venues. It's going to be really interesting to see. That's going to take place in July, and tickets are going to go on sale really soon. So if you live in D.C., you live in Atlanta, you live in Philadelphia, you live in New York, New Jersey, those are going to be all places where those teams are going to be at, in Orlando as well. So check that out if you're a huge soccer fan. Let's move on and quickly get to this entertainment news, and then we're going to do our boss battle and knock that out. So this week, Mario comes out. We wanted to talk a quick bit about Mario because it absolutely destroyed the box office, set the record for the highest grossing opening weekend of all time for an animated film at $385 million, I believe, which is just absolutely bonkers. Did you guys enjoy the movie? Did you guys go see it?
I mean, yeah, it was fun. It was entertaining. The Donkey Kongs were the best part. Seth Rogen's laugh, I called out like 3 times in the movie. My fiance laughed because I called it out before we got in. I was like, he's gonna do his Seth Rogen laugh,
and
it's gonna be great.
I think we even took a wager on the show. Is there going to be a Jack Black? Is there going to be a Jack Black musical number? And there was.
Yeah,
and it's amazing, and I can't get it out of my head.
That's funny.
I can't. It's terrible. It's horrible.
They did an entire music video for it.
They did. The YouTube version, non-animated, is amazing. It's like a room, like a peach-colored room. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to YouTube and watch it, and you'll be stuck with that earworm forever. But one of the surprising things about this film is that not only do they have this incredible record, but they have all these people petitioning for new potential stories. Jack Black is saying, hey, there should be a sequel where a new villain is introduced, and it's Wario, and it's played by Pedro Pascal. That was a recommendation from Jack Black himself, which would be insane. There were 2 almost Avengers style, Marvel style, credits, like post-scene credits or post-credit scenes. The last one is pretty great. Teases at a beloved character coming back. And so that could
you see, if you pay attention, you see this character in the movie.
You do, but it was just really interesting. It was interesting. And I don't know like really how much they're going to play with that other than just a quick little tease. But all in all, like I've got to say, like I saw it with my kids, they've been begging to watch it again and again. Man, it's exciting, dude. I really hope that this starts a new thing for Mario. But the last thing I'll say about this is, do we need a Marvel style like Mario cinematic universe, where it's like we have a Kirby movie and a Samus movie and a Star Fox movie, and they all like lead into an Avengers in-game Super Smash Brothers style movie, like collab?
I don't think everything needs to do that. I
don't think. Yeah.
They can do like a sequel or two. They could like do a couple of like a Star Fox its own movie. I don't think they need to intertwine. I don't think it needs to lead up to a Super Smash Bros. Movie. If they want to do that, sure they could, but just leave it as their own individual thing, and then have it be like after all of those, they do a Super Smash Bros. Movies, and it's just some maniacal hand putting them together, and then it's like just a big meta talk about how, we as humans are the creators of life.
Oh, there you go.
Just do that.
That went way deeper than I thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
You realized Master Hand was Miyamoto the whole time. And then
exactly. No, that's the point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about a cinematic universe, but give me a Star Fox movie.
Oh yeah.
So apparently that is in the works. There is a Star Fox movie reportedly in the works.
I'll watch the heck out of that.
Seth Rogen has also pitched a Donkey Kong movie.
See, that needs to happen. Donkey Diddy. Bring the Donkey family back.
Dude, so good. It's so good. They were some of my favorite parts of the movie for sure. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm ready for that film to come out, like to a home release, so I can watch it with my kids over and over again. It's a good one. Last bit of entertainment news for tonight, and then we're getting to our boss battle, is that Star Wars Celebration happened over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and Monday in England. And Star Wars has announced quite a lot of content coming out over the foreseeable future. They have 3 new live action Star Wars movies coming from directors Dave Filoni, James Mangold, and Charmin Obaid Chinoy. Hopefully I pronounced her last name correctly, but basically they're going to be adding new eras of the Star Wars universe, looking back to the discovery of the Force. They're doing a Mando era film to tie in all the series that Dave Filoni is doing. And then they're also doing a new Jedi Order movie with the return of Daisy Ridley as an actress, set 15 years after The Rise of Skywalker. So those were announced. They also have a lot of new Disney Plus series on the way, including Skeleton Crew later this year, Andor Season 2,
Acolyte 2024.
Acolyte looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They put a lot of focus on Acolyte. And yeah, I mean, it's really cool to see what's happening. Ahsoka, I'm so excited for the Ahsoka series. Unbelievable. It comes out this August. So they are really starting to stack up Star Wars content. So the only question I really have around this for you guys is, do you feel like what we might experience is what we had kind of over the past few months with Marvel? Are we going to get to that point where we're starting to get a little bit content like overwhelmed or burnout?
Yes.
No. Next question.
Yes.
All right. Debate. Let me know, Frosty. Why do you say no? And AJ, why do you say yes?
So here's the thing on the specifically what I like about this is they're going back to the movies. All the TV shows you announced had already been announced, right? All those have been announced. So there's no new projects coming out there. We did take a breath from Star Wars. I like going back though and looking at the High Republic. I like I'm tired of content about characters I know. I don't need to see another Darth Vader thing. I don't need to see another Obi-Wan thing. I don't care what Anakin did for 20 minutes, 45 years before. You know what I mean? But I am interested in the different eras. I am interested in expanding the lore that goes around those movies. The thing I don't like about Star Wars is 6 of those eras happen within 18 years. You know what I mean? 20 years. And so I'd like to get a distance from that and tell new and different stories. I'm tired of content with the same people, but if we can expand the universe and get to different actors, get different voices in, I'm all for that.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. AJ,
I mean,
why are we going to get burnout on this?
There's too much crap. There's too much Star Wars. The average viewer doesn't care this much. The average viewer hasn't read the books. The average viewer is all right, there's, cartoons that we got to pay attention. There's the live shows that we got to pay attention to. There's the movies we got to pay attention to. There's already 9 movies now? Come on. Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to want to pay attention to that. Fast and Furious, you got 9 movies, just that. You got some cartoon TV shows. You don't need to pay attention to that. Star Wars, it all interconnects. That's why I'm worried about the DCU being the same way, because they kept linking it to how Star Wars is the shows, everything intertwines, and that's what James Gunn's trying to do with the DCU. And I'm like, It's especially when it comes to cartoons intertwining, like that's too much, bro.
Yeah.
Like we had Star Wars Rebels character pop up in The Mandalorian. Like that's cool, sure. But now you got to go watch Star Wars Rebels to understand the reference. Like,
except everyone is, right? Like everyone's watching this stuff, right? Like it's Disney's most
Star Wars fans
property.
Not everybody's watching it. I can tell you that as an average
here's
viewer.
the thing. You got to think Rebels is what, 8 years old now?
Yeah.
Clone Wars even older. I mean, they did release the final season a couple years ago, but the thing is, those are older things that they're building on those universes of. And so I feel like this is where the difference between Star Wars and Marvel is the Marvel is like, let's cram a lot of content, but let it set it all almost in the present time frame. Like there is some stuff kind of expanding like with the timelines, but 90% of it is here, right? And I would argue right now that Star Wars is doing this really interesting thing where they're splitting it up. So if I'm not interested in the foundations of the Force,
I think you both are Star Wars fans, and look at what the chat is saying. Everybody's agreeing with me. It's too thin.
But it's not just that. It's not just
I'm
that.
Just saying, you guys sound like some Star Wars fans, and I'm the one who's like, Star Wars is cool, but it's a lot.
But look at the viewership numbers on this stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
Mandalorian is like one of the highest watched shows right now on television.
Because
in the world.
These are fanboys from the last, 32, 40 years that are finally getting content that they wanted.
Damn straight.
The average viewer is like, this is too much. You guys are going to lose it. I promise you. It's not going to do as well as all the other ones.
Well, and it really, I guess the real test will be whenever they do this supposed mashup movie that Dave Filoni is directing to tie in Ahsoka and Mandalorian and both those series together as like a film, that right there is going to show the success of Star Wars. And the real question is, does that film do better than Rise of Skywalker or any of the new Disney movies? Does it do better than Rogue One?
Yeah,
that's the real question. But
it'll be an interesting.
It will be. We will find out in the next few years. And then they announced the Star Wars Celebration. The next one is going to be in Japan in 2025. So if you guys want to book a flight to Japan and go to basically Star Wars version of Comic-Con, come on, let's go. I need an excuse to go. Anyway, let's move on to our final piece of the night. This is the boss battle. Let's get right into it. Space Jam NFL Edition. Oh, that was the wrong lower third. That's my bad. I loaded in the wrong one, dude. My bad. Okay. Should the NBA allow teams like the Mavs to tank? Should that be against the rules? Because, I mean, technically, like anybody could throw a game, right? But when you're sitting your starters intentionally for who knows what reason, I don't know why the Dallas organization is doing it, but Jason Kidd apparently said, like, hey, my bosses told me, aka, my higher ups, the executives, Mark Cuban, he said, I need to sit my starters, so I sat my starters. Like, to me, that's just bonkers, man. I don't understand why you're trying to throw away your shot at the playoffs, especially after making their midseason move to pick up
Kyrie.
To pick up Kyrie, to trade everything for him, and then say, you know what, let's just let's sit Luka. Like, should the NBA like have a penalty for this, or should they say, nah, it's fine? Like, I don't know. I just think it's weird, man. When you're on the cusp of entering the playoffs, it's one thing to be like, hey, mid-season, we are on the struggle bus. We are not there. I just think it's weird to take, but apparently it does have to do with like a pick that they're supposed to get from the Knicks that if they were in the playoffs, they wouldn't have gotten something along those lines. So I don't know. Like, should this be a thing? Is this okay?
Oh gosh. So
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think the NBA has done everything they can to try to stop it. Frankly, you know what I mean? I think the draft lottery goes into it. I think the only thing you could really do, there are two things that you could do, right? Is you could, like, really only one thing is you could ban trading conditional picks, right? That's about the only thing you could do. But like, if the fans are gonna like keep showing up for Mavs games, knowing their owner's doing this, like,
Yeah.
it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know that. I don't know. I'm not answering your question. I just don't know what you can do about it at this point, right?
Well,
like,
and really, what you can do about it is they can figure out the lottery system and change that around. Like, because honestly, that's the reason why this is happening. Like,
yeah,
there's not a lottery season in the NFL, and actually, if I remember, this happened a few years back with Miami and their previous coach. Their head coach was asked to tank for a draft pick, and the head coach said no, and then he got fired. And then he sued and he won some money.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. Freddie, look it up. Go on the archive database there. But I'm pretty sure that happened a couple years ago, and it was one of those things. Like, if this happens in the NFL, like, I don't see the NFL being okay with that at all.
But the NFL is, the NFL is a different organization. I think they are much more. They have a culture being much more strict on their owners than the NBA has. I think the NBA gives the owners a lot more power. Honestly, I don't even know if the fans are against it all the time. Their team tanking, you know what I mean? So I don't.
Yeah, AJ, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, like Frosty said and Freddie said, they've already done as much as they can. Like, short of taking away conditional picks, like, there's not much they can do. Like, it is what it is. It's a part of the game, unfortunately. Like, it's not a fun part of the game, but, like, to me, I think it just shows, like, it's very situational when teams do this. And I think for the Mavs, the reason why they did it was because they saw that they didn't really have a chance with the team that they had, the squad that they had going into the playoffs. They weren't going to have a heavy playoff run. They were struggling. Their two star players don't work well together. And, to them, it's more important to retain that asset, that draft asset from the Knicks, than to get a mediocre play at the playoffs that they know they can't win in. So, and with the change to the way the draft lottery is, as long as they're not in the playoffs, they have a good shot at getting the first round pick, which is sad that that's the way it is now. But it's not nearly as bad as it used to be when teams would try to be the worst team to get the best odds at getting the number one pick. Now you can be like, 15th or 20th or whatever, and still potentially get that first round pick. It's slimmer, or it's like it's slim, but it's like it's better than it used to be. So to me, it's like, it's kind of like you're screwed if you do, you're screwed if you don't kind of situation with the NBA. Every team, and it's like that for the FCF too. Like, people complaining about like gaming the system. Everyone's gonna find a way to game the system.
Oh,
whether
yeah,
it's
100%.
NBA owners or
that's the point of the system.
Right.
That's the way it is. Everybody's gonna do it. Like, I remember the Knights of D-Gen fans trying to buy other teams like 99 or 999 jerseys so that they could call terrible plays for the other teams.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's just smart, honestly. I hated it. It's smart, but force the league to change the rules. And if they get to a point where they're like, well, we can't because this is the issue, then hey, just play the game better. Figure out your own rule around it, your way around it. So
100%. And I think my big problem here is just like, I don't know. I guess it's not even like a legal thing. It's not even a rules thing. For me, it's just like, you are playing a sport. You are playing a game for money. You are out there playing for your fans to cheer you on. And there is some kind of moral thing to throw games or just to not try to play to win every night. Like, I get it. If you have a bunch of injured players, I get it. If you're nowhere close to winning, I get it. If you're not being competitive, I get it. Like, hey, do whatever. But when you have a team like the Mavericks who are on the cusp of entering the play-in and throwing their chances by sitting two healthy players on the bench, one guy who could arguably, like mid-season, we were saying, hey, Luka could totally be an MVP candidate at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's still being considered.
Yeah,
which is wild to me.
Yeah, and he had some crazy games early in the season and mid-season. And to be able to be like, hey, you know what? We're just gonna sit that guy. So, like that's just baffling to me. But that's that. Let us know what you guys think. If you're watching this boss battle, what side do you line on? Should this be something that the NBA does something about, or is it going to happen? Do you think the Mavs are in the wrong here, or do you not blame them? I want to know your thoughts and opinions. You can reach out to us on Twitter at King Ka, at InfoArcadeFCF, and you can also reach out to Frosty too. He's on the Twitterverse as well.
I'm at Liquid Error.
At Liquid Error. So reach out to any of us. We'd love to continue the conversation a little bit more. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning into the show each and every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We run you through the sports, gaming, and entertainment news you need to know about right here live on twitch.tv, YouTube, and Facebook. You can also catch us on podcast services around the globe in case you missed the show. Well, we appreciate you guys listening in each and every week. Again, shout out to the FCF, the Sports Entertainment team for the double Emmy nom. Congratulations. And we can't wait to continue to see what we're going to do later this year. But until next time, guys, thank you for watching. And remember, power to the fans.